So let's just see if we can pick this apart a little bit. I think I know. In my understanding, in your research with Colin Lanka and whatever, is we don't catch bacteria or viruses or anything from the outside in, correct? We just don't.
So let me clarify, because I could see this is very confusing.
Yes,
so
it is. Yeah.
Bacteria are everywhere, right? You take a breath in, there's bacteria in the air you breathe in. So there's continuously, we're being exposed to microorganisms from the environment, and they're probably exchanging information about the environment with the microorganisms that live in our body permanently, right? But what I'm trying to say is that microorganisms don't cause disease at all, period. Whether they come, no matter where they come from, they don't cause the disease, right? And when you have, like, let's say strep throat, for example, when the bacteria are there cleaning up the dead and damaged tissue, that's not the disease, that's the healing process. Okay, so that's one thing that we confuse. But before that, something, if we're talking about a strep throat, something damaged the throat.
Yes.
That's the disease. Now, we may not even have symptoms when that occurs. Okay, we might not even notice it, but the body notices it. And when the body recruits the cleanup crew to resolve that disease, that's when the bacteria or yeast or fungi come in. And that's the healing phase of the illness. So there had to be something that damaged the throat in the first place. And like for many children, it's due to dairy products, like pasteurized, commercial factory farm dairy products that have various toxins in them, including antibiotics, actually, but, foreign hormones, the effect of the pasteurization process makes a lot of toxic substances. So that's what is causing the tissue damage in many cases. And then when your body sends the bacteria from within, that's the healing phase, but that's when you also experience the symptoms. So, mainstream or allopathic medicine tells you that that's the illness part of it, right? And they say that the bacteria are causing it, but that's just doesn't make sense with the evidence. Even common sense, like, why would the same bacteria be there when you don't have strep throat if it causes the strep throat, right?
And it is there.
Yeah, it's there. It's there all the time. It's our normal bacteria that lives in our skin and our mucous membranes. You never do a strep throat culture unless someone has the symptoms of strep throat. But if you did it when they were healthy, you'd find it would be positive most of the time.
So this is the same model of a flu or cold, the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because there's damage to the tissue in the airway, like in the cold, and that makes sense because, did you ever look at your heating air filter, right? And at the end of the year, and it's gross, right? It's got all kinds of crap on it, and the heat only runs part of the time. Your nose and airway runs all the time, right? You never stop breathing. So all of the crap in the air gets trapped in the tissues, and you actually have special mechanisms in the tissue to filter it out. And so that filter, it needs to be cleaned, right? Otherwise it won't work anymore, and that's what happens when you get a cold.
Yeah. So